The looks on some Democrats' faces today after the government was reopened was thoroughly entertaining. I was smiling all day long. Di-Fi looked like she ate something bad in the Senate dining room. And Disturbin' Durbin looked like he swallowed Bob Corker. Look at him. Donald Trump and the Republican leadership outsmarted them again. It's Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. The idiotic move by Chuck Schumer to shut down the government to help illegal immigrants was wildly unpopular, and he quickly felt the white-hot heat from the public. Even by Friday, more Americans understood the truth, that liberals in Washington put the interests of DACA people ahead of the well-being of our men and women in the armed forces. Now, think about it this way. Imagine being deployed in Afghanistan. Maybe you're on your multiple deployments. You're away from your family for several months, and then you find out that the fools on the Hill are more worried about illegal aliens than about you and your family. That must feel really good. It's disgraceful. All it took was McConnell promising to work on the immigration issue until February 8th, and if nothing was resolved by then, to have a free and open debate on immigration, including a DACA fix.
It ends the shutdown and restores full funding for the federal government through February the 8th.
If an agreement isn't reached by February the 8th, the Senate will immediately proceed to consideration of legislation dealing with DACA.
Ooh, big win, Chuck. The Boston Globe's Matt Visor summed it up this way in a tweet. He said, Democrats have managed to accede to Republican demands, demoralize their energized base, give a disengaged president a win, and look like they held a meaningless 3-day government shutdown all at once. I couldn't have summed it up better myself. And before the shutdown, the Democrats' dream of taking back power, it was already slowly fading away because of the roaring stock market and the strength of the overall economy. So now what do our left-wing friends across politics and the media do to save face?
Just a fool, like he's just an idiot, like he's a stupid old blubbery man who doesn't know what he's doing.
The president was not involved these past few days. Despite that, they've reached this compromise.
The president doesn't have a good sense of his governing style.
This is the second time his staff has basically had to trick him into watching TV and tweeting instead of being hands-on after he bungled it by being hands-on.
I'm watching Nicole Wallace, and I keep thinking it's Mika Brzezinski. I can't. They're all becoming one person now when I'm watching them. Now, it's amazing how many of the same fanatics, by the way, have been trying to ram through amnesty since 2006. Think of them. It's Graham, Schumer, and Durbin, all back, the three amigos. Now, the president has got to be very careful in the coming days and weeks not to allow the foxes into the henhouse as the debate moves forward. You think about it. Republicans could not rid us of Obamacare last year after all those votes that they had when it didn't matter. But now, by golly, they're obsessed with helping illegal immigrants, and they're going to get it done. As for Democrats, they just want to repeal and replace those blue-collar Americans who voted for Trump with new immigrants who'll vote for Democrats. The president has got to hold firm, and I think he will. No chain migration, no visa lottery, real funding for the wall, not just authorization, but appropriations, and then, I guess, maybe do the DACA thing. You have all the leverage. Don't give it to the politicians, Mr. President, who don't respect you or your supporters. And by the way, there's some more evidence that Trump is more in the mainstream on immigration than Lindsay or Chuck will ever be. Check out this new Harvard-Harris poll that just came out. It tells a really good tale. 65% versus 35% support a DACA deal that ends chain migration, eliminates the visa lottery, and secures the border with a wall. 68% of respondents oppose the visa lottery. 81% want to see legal immigration levels slashed. You heard it, slashed. 79% think immigration should be based on skills rather than family ties. And 60% believe Dreamers should not be given preference to bring their relatives to the United States. 61% think current border security is inadequate. 54% support a physical barrier along the southern border. And a whopping 79% want secure borders rather than open borders. Well, facts never got in the way of these open borders Republicans before, but maybe we can hope that Lindsey Graham, Jeff Flake, and the others get the message. Meanwhile, we stay on the corruption watch as we learn today that the FBI somehow managed to lose 5 months worth of texts. And I was shocked, I tell you, to have found out that the only texts the FBI failed to preserve were messages between that anti-Trump FBI investigator Peter Strzok and his paramour, FBI attorney Lisa Page. Now, remember, both worked on the Mueller and Clinton email investigations. And it was during that key period between December 2016 through May 2017 that the Bureau claims a technical problem with updating software caused the failure to preserve these messages. So are you saying that it's just like when we get stuff on our iPhone or you want the update and we always say no because we don't want the phone to slow down? Is that what happened? This is ridiculous. It's the FBI. If you believe their explanation here, I have a pet rock I want to sell you. And by the way, I loved my pet rock when it came out. Attorney General Jeff Sessions has got to step in now. I know he recused himself, and that was, frankly, not necessary from the FBI Russia investigation. But now we need an independent review of all of this monkey business. There's too much to explain away. By the way, we have a lot more on that coming up. You do not want to move because it's hot tonight. The show is hot. Including, by the way, the gradual push to release the House Intel memo and the FBI warrant abuse that we've been talking about for days on the show. There's new news on that. But there is other huge economic news today that I've got to get to that's going to be overlooked by everybody in the media, but not here. Once again, we'll show that President Trump is fulfilling the promises that he made.
We will stand up to trade cheating. Cheaters, that's what they are, cheaters. We will stand up to trade cheating. Anywhere and everywhere it threatens the American job.
The U.S. Trade Rep's office just announced that it will grant relief in the form of major tariffs against imported solar cells and modules, as well as large residential washing machines. Trump trade chief Bob Lighthizer cited Section 201 in the Trade Act of 1974, a law that gives the president discretionary authority to grant relief if the International Trade Commission finds that imports have been a substantial cause of serious injury. It's a real finding here. There had been a pattern of unfair trade practices going on for years, and this is the first time this law provided any relief since the early 2000s. Great news. Now, can you imagine Obama ever doing this? Or, frankly, Hillary Clinton? Well, Hillary Clinton would have never done it because it was her husband back in 2000 who thought it was such a great idea for China to join the WTO. Remember, Obama did use tariffs once on tires, but that was only directed at China. Trump's tariffs apply to a large number of countries engaged in this abuse. Now, of course, today's trade enforcement action was greeted by the usual globalist hair on fire reporting. It's all wrong, but it's so predictable. Again, this pattern of unfair trade practices in major industries, and this is just the beginning, is obscene. And oftentimes, even when we go to the World Trade Organization, the World Trade Court, and they judge in our favor, the offending countries do not rectify the damage, and the damage to American companies is already done by the time they get any relief. Well, I'll tell you this. On trade, on immigration, so many issues, there is truly a new sheriff in town. And we're putting American industry first, American workers first, the American people first. And it's about time. And that's the angle.